Rubik's Cube in 60 seconds. Impossible, right?
And at first glance, this might sound like an impossible task.
I fear nothing.
Considering less than 6% of the population can solve a Rubik's Cube, and the average person that can takes about 3 hours, as well as there being 16,450 people in the United States that have a single solve under 1 minute, meaning that this is not something you see every single day.
But before we get started, I wanted to discuss a couple of disclaimers.
I have solved the Rubik's Cube before. I taught myself when I was 13 in 8th grade when I used to run those hallways PG-13 style, because what can't I do? But I have not solved a Rubik's Cube too much since then. In fact, I can probably count on one hand how many times I've solved the Rubik's Cube since I was 13.
And I thought, could I not only still solve a Rubik's Cube, but could I solve one in under a minute? Something that very few people attempt to achieve and actually achieve. And could I also get this done within a week?
Got a week to be able to do this under a minute. I guess we're just gonna give this a shot and see what happens. I really think it's possible we can solve this under a minute within the next week. Take one. That was our first attempt there. It wasn't the best thing in the world. It could have gone a lot better, definitely, but it also could have been a lot worse. I could have not solved it at all. I guess that was also an option. But for our first try, we were just under 7 minutes and 40 seconds. Granted, there was a little bit of time I spent moving the camera around because I knew I wasn't going to solve it under a minute the first try, so I didn't really care. My main goal was to just solve it and get used to moving it around. So I'm just going to keep on keeping on, and we'll see if we can get it under 5 minutes within the next few tries.
And while I was optimistic over the long term, I underestimated how quickly I would make progress in the short term.
That took literally no time at all. My hope was in the first 10 tries I'd be able to solve it under 5 minutes. After solving it maybe twice over the past 10 years, the second try, 3 minutes and 21 seconds. I am beyond excited with that. I think we can honestly get under 3 minutes before the end of the day. Keep in mind, we still have 7 days. We have a lot of time to play with to get this under a minute. Continue.
After making more progress than expected on day 1, I moved on to day 2 with confidence.
$2.52.
And believe it or not, there was an even better time right around the corner.
2 minutes and 12 seconds. Let's go, baby. I'm absolutely ecstatic we're getting close to being under 2 minutes. And it's only day 2.
And shortly after, this happened.
2:06, boy. Talk to me nicely. 1:44. A minute and 41 seconds. 1:38, baby. 1:26. I feel like this last 25 to 30 seconds is going to be extremely hard to shave off. Luckily, we still have 5 more days to get that done.
And while although on day 3 I did best that time of 1:26 by hitting a new time of
a minute and 17 seconds, my guy.
I knew that in not even 3 days, I had made a lot of progress in solving a Rubik's Cube in under 1 minute, taking my best times from just under 7 minutes and 40 seconds to just under a minute and 20 seconds. But unfortunately, the prediction I made about things getting extremely hard,
I feel like this last 25 to 30 seconds is going to be extremely hard,
was about to come to fruition. I tried and I tried and I tried. As consistent as I was with trying to solve this Rubik's Cube in under 1 minute, solving the Rubik's Cube while I was watching TV, and really during any downtime I had, it just seemed like my times weren't getting better. I hadn't even gotten close to that minute and 17 second personal best that I had set on day 3.
You guys just saw me solve that Rubik's Cube in a minute and 17 seconds, but that was kind of a fluke.
And so I decided to sit down and do a little bit of research and thinking, and I ultimately came up with this idea.
I keep getting the cube stuck. It is more of an older cube, so when I go to turn it in one direction, sometimes it gets stuck and I'm turning it too fast. And I figure while my hands are cramping because I've been solving it so much today, especially, I think maybe going to get another one that's a little bit newer, that's a little bit more smoother, it might help me cut down on that last 17 seconds or so I need to solve this in under a minute.
So the good news is I did get the Rubik's Cube. The bad news is I want to try to solve it right now because I just walked out of Walmart and I didn't really think of a way for me to time myself as well as film because I'm filming my phone right now. So I'm just going to kind of give it a shot and see how long it takes. Definitely feel a lot smoother. That's going to make a big difference.
So let's talk about this for a hot second. After I had solved this cube, I did in fact fix this awful camera angle of my head being cut off. Unfortunately, in the process of doing that, I ended up shooting this shot that was completely out of focus. And I didn't realize this until I was already editing this video. So rather than put a shot in here that looks absolutely terrible, I thought I would just do a voiceover. In short, I did feel like I was able to solve this cube much faster, with this cube being a little more smooth. I did feel at the time that this was definitely going to be a game changer, and I was going to shave several seconds off of my best time so far.
We're coming down to the wire here. Day 5. It's really starting to get close to that make or break time. This is my first full day with the new Rubik cube, so hopefully we can make some progress on this today. Cue the sick time lapse and background music. A minute and 12 seconds. A new personal best. Just like that. We're getting there, baby. 12 seconds to go. Definitely a good idea picking up this cube.
And not too long after, I bested that time again. I continued to utilize what was left for time during day 5. But at first, I kept finishing with times all over the place.
Nope, not even close.
And then that sense of doubt started to creep into my head.
All I want to do is solve this Rubik's cube in under a minute. Why is that so hard? Tell me why. Why is it so hard? That's what she said.
I thought, who really cares if I can solve a Rubik's Cube in under a minute? But immediately I shot down that idea and I said I was going to do this and I'm going to do it, even if there's a 5. So I went back over to the computer and did some research about how I could finish the job, how I could finish off those last couple of seconds that were constantly just pushing me over a minute. And after a little while, I came back with a couple of answers.
So what I've noticed here is I kind of have two options. One is there's obviously a more efficient way to solve the Rubik's Cube, which is why you see some of these guys solving Rubik's Cubes in 5 seconds or so. I don't really have time to learn those more efficient ways, considering we've got less than 48 hours to go here. Or there's option number 2, which we're gonna hope has some legs here, or we're in some trouble. And that's to use a little bit more peripheral vision. In other words, when you're trying to solve the cube, you almost want to solve piece by piece. And what I've been doing is I solve the piece I want to solve, and then I look for the next piece I want to solve. The thing is, what I need to do is when I finish solving that piece I'm aiming to solve, I already need to be on top of the next piece I want, where it is and where it's going, which also includes me knowing the cube inside and out. That's going to shave off a good amount of time. Well, hopefully. I really think we can do this. I really think we can.
As I became more and more aware of the pieces I was looking for to solve the cube moves ahead of time, I could feel it. While I was making silly mistakes, I could definitely feel my hands moving fast enough to solve the cube within a minute. I knew that it was only a matter of time before I was able to solve this Rubik's Cube in under 60 seconds. The past week, I had put in so much time solving this cube, so much time just trying to move my fingers and hands as fast as I possibly could, just so I could be one of the approximate 16,500 people that had a single solve of under 1 minute. We were getting closer and closer. And then
Let's go!
I got it. 52 seconds.
Yes. Finally, after all this time, after all of these attempts to solve this cube, we finally got it in under a minute. I'm so excited. Yes.
And then, just to make sure it wasn't a fluke,
58 seconds this time. You know, I really actually wanted to do this twice just to make sure I didn't do it just on some crazy chance. So now that we've done it twice, I'm extremely satisfied. I really didn't know if we were gonna get this done at first when it took me about 8 minutes to solve that first one, but we got it done.
And it just goes to show that regardless of the challenge at hand, with determination and perseverance, anything is possible. Thank you all so much for watching this video. I hope you all enjoyed it. If you did, please make sure to like and subscribe. That really does help the channel grow immensely, and I'll see you all in the next video.